All right, real quick before this interview starts, you're watching HIVEMIND. We shot this interview with Jade from OSO OSO at 2 in the morning, and our second string cameraman, Huntley, lost his glasses, and he didn't let me know, but it's a tiny, tiny bit out of focus. Just Graydon and I, you can see Jade perfectly, but just wanted to let you guys know that it's not always like that, and love you guys. Back to the interview. What's up? You're watching HIVEMIND. Our guest today is Jade from OSO OSO.
Hello.
And this segment is called Under the Influences. Graydon, why don't you start him off?
So, Jade, you're 2 years older than Riley, a year older than myself.
That's the opposite.
Oh, yeah, you're 2 years older than myself. I forgot Riley's older than me for a second.
Yeah, that's true.
It's because I always treat you
big
like a little
bro.
brother.
I don't even know how old you guys are.
I'm 24.
I'm 23.
2 years older than you, 1 year older than you.
Yeah.
Now that we got to the bottom of that.
Absolutely.
I was thinking, I did my research, dude. I know how old
That's
you are,
fucking
all that
sick.
stuff. Yeah.
We kind of want to know what kind of kid you were when AIM Messenger was around.
And like MySpace.
When AIM Messenger was around.
MySpace days, like maybe some MySpace songs, just like
Right.
paint us a little
Yeah,
picture
what kind
here.
of kid were you?
I'm trying to zone back to. I have one AIM screen name down. My main go-to AIM screen name for the longest amount of time was Big Breakdown Day 3. It was big. It was all lowercase because I'm a big fan of the lowercase letters. It was
Subtle.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it was. I'm just trying to figure out where the X went. I think it was after day. I think
Use
it
it
was
as,
Big
like,
Breakdown Day
X. Which was
3.
punctuation, not a letter in the... Yeah, for sure.
Exactly.
Of course. And was
And
that
it was-
because you liked big breakdowns? Like...
Well, it was a song by this band, The Sleeping, but
Oh,
they
okay.
they're a band that had a couple of breakdowns here and there. They were like a
Nice.
Long Island Victory Records band.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah,
That's super cool.
Yeah.
that's almost like that lets you know too much about what kind of kid I was.
Yeah, AIM Messenger, which is funny. I'm not even that big of a basketball fan now, but mine was Witness 2323. Like a big LeBron. Like, I was just like a big LeBron
I didn't know
fan
that.
when I was a kid.
That's dude.
Yeah, growing up in Ohio, you know, it's hoop dreams.
Mine was DeJanitor 33.
The janitor.
I did
It was-
not know that.
It was a carryover from a gamer tag because I used to play Halo a lot and I was always cleaning up others' kills. So they'd call me in. The janitor's here.
The janitor's
mop up the kills.
My God, I literally cannot
And 33 for Larry Bird.
believe that. 33 for Larry.
And shootings for show-offs.
Ooh, that is so funny.
Is that a whole other name? Shootings for show-offs.
Shooting for show-offs like a Nick Kroll bit he does about young Larry Bird.
Yeah.
And Larry Bird's
Yeah.
like trying to save his family's farm and
By
his
winning
dad
a 2-point shooting
a 2-point
contest,
shooting
'cause it's,
contest.
like, back, yeah.
And his mom's like, you know what your dad will say, Larry, shootings for show-offs.
Kroll Show. Yeah, Kroll Show.
Yep.
R.I.P. the Kroll Show.
Yep,
That's
rest in peace.
Yeah, that's a great show. All right, switching gears. So you just signed to Triple Crown Records.
Yes.
First of all,
Congrats.
congrats.
Yeah.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome. Great label.
Thank you.
Is there anyone on that roster that's particularly like a wow for you to be on the same label now, like be label mates with?
Weatherbox.
Yeah.
North Star, Hot Rod Circuit.
Okay.
Those are the main three that it's like.
Yeah, I knew you were a big
Blows my mind.
Weatherbox fan. They're
Yeah,
awesome.
I'm
That's
like-
super cool.
Two things I'm most obsessed with in life are probably Weatherbox and basketball.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to watch their little elephant and their
Dude,
audio tree all
their
the
audio
time.
tree is so perfect.
Yeah.
I was like brought it up today. There's like the song The Dreams,
Mhm.
and at the end of it he switches the lyrics up just for the audio tree.
That's
And
really
it's
cool.
just
Wow.
like it's so fucking good.
Yeah, let's just keep talking about artists you're into then. What
Mhm.
artists right now are you really excited about outside the label, just in general?
Like a couple albums that I was super stoked on for 2017 was
17,
like Land of Talk,
Okay.
the SZA album. Like even though that's probably the most like mainstream album. Like
Yeah. It's a great album though. That's
it's
a really
it's
good record.
probably it's easily my like favorite of the year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That album came out of I was not familiar with her until like that album started getting all the acclaim and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And
Mhm.
she's had releases before it, so that was like a total shock to me.
Yeah.
It's refreshing to see that, definitely. Someone
It's-
just come out and
yeah.
have that much appeal and you're like,
Yeah,
oh,
and
I'm
it
into
just
this
sounds
too.
So different from like so much stuff that I've heard
Yeah.
recently.
Yeah. I love how like much personality is injected into all that music too.
Yeah.
Like there's just not that in that genre right now.
For sure.
Like other than like you could compare it to like the Frank Ocean record a little
Right.
bit, But yeah, it's just so much about her. Like,
Those
you just learn
I
a
was gonna
lot.
say like the lyrics are just so brash and just so like, I don't want to say revealing because that sounds like corny. You know what I mean? But it's just so honest. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like really real. The Alex G record was sick.
That was my like second. I liked that and the Tyler the Creator record.
That
were, like,
one
my two favorites.
that one stayed with me the whole year.
Yeah, I'm wearing an ASG shirt right now.
Really?
Yeah. Elliot Beck.
That is fucking dope.
Yeah.
Great Grandpa.
Oh yeah.
That
Plastic
record.
Cough.
Yeah, just like stuff where the melodies are just super challenging shit that like I am just, what the fuck? And the Paramore record too.
Oh, the Paramore record, yeah.
But like, you know what I mean? Everybody knows that. I'm not like.
Yeah,
Like,
but it was cool to see them transform so
check
gracefully.
Out this band,
Yeah.
Paramore, like they grinded it out.
I convinced some possible naysayers though.
Really,
like I
it's
crossed
dope,
them over.
right?
Yeah,
It's really good.
Based on he's a fan of the 1975 a little bit, and
it's another great band.
Yeah. And so I thought the appeal of that Paramore record was similar to me.
Definitely.
I loved listening to that. That was fun. Yeah, it was
I think I have a theory too. Like I think they like that's just the beginning. Like they found their next era. Like I think the next record's gonna be like crazy.
That would be cool to see her totally like
Flip the script.
Yeah, flip it.
Her
That'd be
and
sweet.
Taylor, the guitarist, Taylor writes a lot of instrumentals. And
Okay.
Oh, cool.
He just started like find his like groove. Like you can kind of hear it coming in the album before they did that song "Ain't It Fun." I was like trying to think of what the name is, but
is that off that's off the self-titled?
The self-titled,
because
yeah.
the dude from Failure did that record.
Yeah,
he just did Citizens record too.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he did.
I thought that was Will Yet.
Will engineered it, but I guess he mixed it.
He mixed it.
Yeah,
Word, got you.
Because they said that's what drew them to that. Matt really
Word.
wanted to do a record with the dude who did for Paramore self-titled. That was like his whole
Word.
thing,
That's
so.
actually hella interesting.
Yeah. And I think Citizen shows a lot of like Failure influence in their music too.
That album, their recent album, As You Please, is like super surprising.
Yeah, Citizens from our hometown. They're from Toledo.
Oh, really?
So I've like I remember seeing them when I was like 15.
Yeah.
And so it's super crazy now. I think that's their best record that they've made so far. As You Please is the best to me at least.
Yeah, for me too. That's like right up my alley.
Yeah. So on the Yunahon mixtape, you tend to write from the perspective of like many different characters or like kind of all characters that intertwine their stories type of thing. I know you said you were inspired kind of by like TV and movies and things like that. Are there like specific songs that you tie to like TV shows or like in your memory kind of?
For Yunahon, there's this book called Thumbsucker by Walter Kern, and there was like a movie made of it. And there's a lot of characters a lot of influence from characters that I got from that. Like even like in The Slope where it says like Mariah blindfolds me and tells me I can't look, like that's like pretty much straight from this book. Not straight from this book, but like pretty much. You know what I mean? From a scene in this book, Thumbsucker.
That's cool.
Just stuff like that. Like it's hard for me to remember because you know what I mean? I'll just take stuff in. I'll watch something. I'll read a book and I'll be like, oh yeah, that was such a good character, and start to like write down like just like aspects that I really liked or like certain conversational exchanges and stuff like that, and kind of try and like build these little characters myself.
Yeah, it's like the emotion it gets out of you, inspires you to think of stuff. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. Otherwise, I just feel like it might get a little boring if I'm just writing like, too much from my own perspective. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Yeah.
I saw in a Twitter exchange that you said you have massive respect for what Lil Peep did in such a short time.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
For sure. I'm from Long Beach, New York. I've known his brother growing up.
Really?
Yeah, and I like was actually really lucky to meet him a couple times and like talk to him like way before his shit was like popping off.
Yeah.
And really like in the early stages, like I think I followed him on Twitter when he had like 1,500 people following him.
Oh my gosh.
And stuff like that, and like so what like I delivered pizza with one of his good friends, and he was like, oh, you're friends with this kid who like Oscar, who's his brother, and I was like, yeah, I play basketball with Oscar, I've known him for a while and stuff. He's like, oh, you should come through and like we'll smoke after work and stuff like that. So I went through and like chilled with like it was a couple of people there at his house, and like just like meeting this kid and talking to him at the time, like he was asking me about stuff that I do because he was interested in touring and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he was telling me this. At the time, he was just getting into Schema Posse.
Oh, yeah.
Which
Schema,
is like the first collective he joined,
like,
I guess, before
Jay
Goth
Green.
Boy Click,
it's
right?
like Jay Green and who's the other guy that's in it?
So,
Ghostman.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
Schema
Schemer
Suite.
Boy.
Yeah, that
Jay
was
Green,
like,
what's the deal, bro?
Yeah,
like,
what's the deal? Yeah, that's
like
yeah.
that, and like it didn't necessarily like click with me at first. I was like, oh, this is definitely so different. You know what I mean? And then like that song specifically, Beamer Boy, like got stuck in my head after a while. I was like, wow, this is like super interesting shit. And then I just kind of like kept tabs on it, and like obviously he got fucking super big.
Yeah.
And to me it was just wild because I met this kid while he was at a time where it was like this shit wasn't popping off, and he was telling me about all these like ambitions and stuff over smoking blunts with like a bunch of people, and he's like, yeah, I just like go in my room and like I work on these songs and shit like that. And it was just like amazing to see how far he went and all that
to
shit.
watch it all like happen after
for sure.
I know you said that like other than Beamer Boy, I know you said that the early stuff resonates with you a little bit more.
Yeah.
Are there like specific songs now that you revisit
Star Shopping,
yeah, that's
Beamer
the one.
Boy, White Wine is a hit.
Yeah, I like White Wine.
And then off of Come Over When You're Sober, that one didn't resonate with me as much as the stuff before,
yeah.
But I'm a really big fan of Save That Shit. I thought that one was like a hit.
I like You Said a lot too. The first half of You Said is like really great.
Like that album, like it's definitely super catchy.
Yeah,
even like
it's, like,
I'll listen
like,
to it like straight through, like Awful Things. It like works for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I just think the best stuff was like hands down the SoundCloud stuff. Like I think if you put like a lot of ears on Star Shopping, it's like that song has like endless potential for how big it could be.
Totally.
Because that's like,
I think that way about like Gym Class too. Like song, and they took the video down. Like that got copyright striked like a month and a half ago by the band the Boats who they sample. But it's actually up in
who's the band that they sample?
The Boats.
Okay.
They're like an ambient, like post-rock type of thing.
Right.
And they just sample like the last minute of like a 12-minute song in that song. But all the samples, that's great to dig through. I mean, like that's what resonated for me. Like I became kind of obsessed with him like about 2 months before he passed.
For sure.
Now I'm like all into it. But
I mean, if I'm being real, I think that shit is more in the vein of the future of music than the stuff that like my band does. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
And I think there's kind of like, I listen to that stuff and it's inspiring to me because I kind of feel challenged where it's like that's not necessarily in like 100% the type of stuff that I want to make, but it just kind of proves how stale like this genre has almost got, where it's like I kind of look at ways like how can I kind of push this,
put a new take on
and make it better. You know what I mean?
And I think that's also spawned some interesting, like Coward is is John Simmons from Balance and Composure and Wicca Phase doing a project.
I've only heard that's Wicca Phase is in Coward too?
Yeah.
Okay, I've heard a little bit of that, but I won't, like super minimal.
Yeah, I haven't heard that much of that project, but it just shows to me also like, I mean, they've always kind of had those ambitions. I know John Simmons was on Travis Scott really early.
Okay.
Like he was a big Travis Scott fan when he was like not that big. I just think it speaks to kind of like the ambitions that people are starting to see when the sound is like changing, or the way that, like, I think there's a lot more kids sitting in their rooms right now making SoundCloud beats and stuff than starting rock bands.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like the way it's like that DIY ethic is like still there in those kids. Like when I met this kid a couple times, like Pete, like he was at the point where he was selling like those like Hellboy shirts, like mailing them himself. You know what I mean? And get like, I don't know how many orders a week there, but he was
making money.
Himself. It was like DIY.
He was. I
also think now like the rock band fans are listening to rap and like stuff on SoundCloud more than they were ever listening to other genres.
For sure.
And so there's an openness to like the fusion of, you know, all these different genres now more so.
The way you mentioned John Simmons before too, like the balance and composure, like the way they do their merch store, I thought was hands down the best out of like I don't even want to put anything online until like I could figure out a way how to do it cool and like as well as like that, because
totally
it was Midnight Zone, was it?
I
right?
have the pennant one, the $60 like the
it's like
black.
that was
so cool.
No band has touched that in terms of like just the way they had their merch
style,
or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And even like they have the shirts, the Balco stuff. It's like that stuff is just so much doper than most of the stuff that you see today with like bands in the genre. It's like you don't have to necessarily have your band name on a shirt for it to be like
totally like
super cool, you know.
Mitski said she was like, I would only make merch that I would wear.
Exactly.
And like a lot of bands are making shirts that are just like promoting what they're doing, but instead I think there's a way to think about it where it's like it's just clothing that is associated with what you're doing.
That kind of stems down from like Kanye and in like a way of like having your merch be like a design. I think it's funny that everybody's trying to design original clothes now. While old tour tees have never been more popular. Like just the cheesiest old like tour dates and like the name and like a simple thing. Like those are proper like cool now. But everyone else's merch is like
that's also just one of a kind too. You know what I mean?
That's
like,
true.
Their bands like we were talking about like that Hotelier shirt before. Like they repressed that one over and over again. You know what I mean? For a while, that sweatshirt.
It's like years and
those
cities
tour shirts,
are
it's
like
like
special,
once in a lifetime
collectible
deal where people get excited about stuff like that too.
Yeah, and I think back then it was a way to show people that you went somewhere. And now it's like everybody's got the video or whatever they posted I saw the show, but now like that's what became so novelty about those things. It's it's sweet. Yeah, I love coming across all those in thrift stores now too. Because you can find like I have like the last episode I wore a Brad Paisley tour shirt just because it looked cool. Like I don't like Brad Paisley, but like it was like him with water coming up.
The designs are so outrageous.
Like H2O tour. It was like
because if it's a souvenir of going to the show, think of the people that are going to Brad Paisley's show that want the souvenir. They want them like shooting water and like an American flag behind them.
We love NASCAR shirts because they're so obnoxious. There's so many colors on them.
It's like the print.
It's like 12 cars on them.
Like throwback NBA shirts like that.
Yeah.
With all the big action logos.
I love those. Yeah, those are sweet.
Like a Grant Hill shirt.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, if you had to put an album in a time capsule,
interesting.
What album would you put into it? Let's make it has to kind of encapsulate like your musical fandom, like something that could sum you up.
Oh man, I'm just trying to think of like
one. There's only room for one. It's like a perfect shape.
Yeah.
Follow the Rattle of the Afghan Guitar by Weatherbox.
Okay.
Yeah, you knew a Weatherbox.
I felt it coming.
That one might be just the one that I think just encapsulates like everything that I love about music.
Yeah.
Like from lyricism to delivery to instrumentals to all that stuff. Yeah.
Tune in next time where we get the time capsule and we're gonna put our albums in. What do your parents think about your music?
They're like super supportive in the funniest, like coolest way. Like the more the band has like gotten attention, they've like obviously like been more receptive to it. But I also think like the better the band has got, they've been more receptive to it as well.
So you can kind of tell by their reaction.
Yeah, like
how
the better my
are.
singing has gotten, my parents have been like more cool
Cheering
about it.
A little louder.
Yeah, exactly. But my mom is the big fan. My dad is like super supportive. He listens to this one Cure record over and over and over again.
We're talking about the Cure all day.
Yeah, it's like
playing
he
Boys
just
Don't
listens
Cry.
to the greatest hits over and over again. But my mom was always like showing me Red Hot Chili Peppers or like Blink-182 stuff that was like popping off in like 1988.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? When I was like 6 years old.
Is it fun to like send them like? Last year was it like ABC put you guys in like
I don't send them anything. They find that shit.
Oh yeah.
My mom
like pinning up the articles and stuff.
Yeah, she will check our Tumblr, or not Tumblr, our Twitter and shit, and like she'll text me like, oh, like be safe, like, and I'm like, what? Why'd she text me that? And be like, oh wait, maybe I just posted something stupid on Twitter or something like that.
Is there anybody that you've been kind of surprised by that's been really receptive of your music as it's started to grow? Maybe like an early on hater or something that's kind of turned around on it?
No, the haters have always been hating. No, I'm just kidding. Like one that's super fresh because it was like a couple weeks ago is like Kenny Vasoli from he played in the starting line and like Personnel and does Vacationer. And he hit us up on Twitter and was just like, yo, like, I'm so glad you popped up in my feed. Been loving your record. And for me, that shit was crazy. Like,
that's
I was actually at work when it happened. And, like, I was like to my friend, I was like, yo, look at this. And he's like, wait, what the fuck? fuck? So that, for me, that shit is like truly, truly crazy. Like I could never have imagined that in my life. Like I saw that dude's band at Warped Tour when I was like fucking 15 and like watched them like co-headline like a tour with Paramore and shit like in the city. Like just absolutely mind blowing.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Transcending time and space. 'Cause you're boys.